Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's almost Christmas, so it is time to share some Christmas creativity. I created a bunch of Christmas cards, and this year I did it with inks and all kinds of mixed media techniques, with some stenciling, with some texture paste, some stamping, some die cutting, and most of all they are quick and easy to make, yet they look great. So let me share those cards with you in hopes of inspiring you to create your own without having the feeling that you have to put many hours into it. So let's take a look. So before I show you the cards, let's start with the basic materials. The cards that I used, or the card stock that I used to create most of these cards, I bought like this. So it's either double cards with envelope sets, and these are very affordable, I can tell you. I'm not sure what these cost, but I think 8 cards, I think it wasn't even €1. You have to find your special vendors, the dollar shops like that, in my case the euro shops, and they come in different colors and sizes. So there you go. Also, you can use the cardstock like this, and these you can fold in half, and then you have your square card. And this is also very affordable. You will have to buy some envelopes, of course. And then there is this. This is a European A5 size card. So if I fold this in half, I will have the standard C6 size double card, and also these come in all kinds of different colors, sizes, etc. So these are just some ideas. You also need, for the techniques that I'm going to show you, most of them I used my inks because I thought, I have all these lovely inks, most of them by Tim Holtz. Like this is the Distress Spray Stain, so I can spray these. This is Candied Apple. This is a brilliant Christmas color, of course, but you can use any color that you like. Doesn't have to be Tim Holtz, of course. I also have this Dilutions ink spray, and it doesn't have to be Ranger because this is all Ranger, but you can use any brand that you like. I also this year used the new Distress Mica stains. Well, new last year, I have to say. So this is last year's collection, and these are mica stains. So if you have to shake them up so you can hear the ball. And then all of these pigments will mix, these mica pigments will mix with the fluids. And if you spray it, you will get this lovely colored metallic sheen on the top of any surface that you spray them. And I have, of course, bought every single color that they offered last year. And these were 12, I think. Yeah, 4 sets of 3. So I bought all 12. Well, And then you can use, of course, different kinds of elements like your glitter glues. I use Stickles because I am a fan of their quality, also by Ranger, by the way. And this holds for a long time, for many months. This will stay good. So it is a bit more expensive than your average kids glitter glue. But this is a very nice consistency, not too thick, not too thin, but thin enough to be very precise, and a very thin nozzle here. So you can draw quite the fine line, and like I said, it hardly ever dries out or clumps or like that. So it's a very high quality glitter glue, so I love these. I have like a zillion colors, and I'm showing you these because these are very Christmassy. This is holly and this is candy cane, and the holly one, so I'm keeping it out of focus for now so you can see the red and gold and green glitters that this offers, and the candy cane one is red with gold. So these are very lovely Christmas colorings. I don't know if these are still available, but it's just an example. Also very handy is your dimensional tape. So this is quite a thick tape that you can use to build up layers of dimension. So each layer can be a bit higher than the next. And then of course there is your stamp sets, your flowers, your poinsettias, your Christmas colored flowers. These are by I Am Roses, here iamroses.com. Very affordable as well. It is international, so you will have to import them. and you will have to take some time because it takes a couple of weeks to arrive. I think these are from somewhere in Asia. I think Malaysia or Singapore or some such. So it's not tomorrow, let's say. Okay, with that out of the way, let's start with the first card. And that's this one. I used several techniques at once. First of all, I bought a set of a card and an envelope. So this is a dark green base with a nice envelope. I like my envelopes when they are decorated. It's a plus, I think, so very nice. I bought an entire box of these. So that is a great way. These are white, these particular ones on the inside. I would have liked it a bit more if it were green on both sides. But on the other hand, it's easier to write and it be readable. And what I did on the front here is first I sprayed with several inks, and I have several videos on my channel if you want to see me do that, and there are lots of spraying videos in general on YouTube. You can also watch Tim Holtz's own videos with lots of demos if you want to know the technique, but it's very, very, very simple. Take a piece of paper, but choose the right paper. So choose mixed media paper or watercolor paper, any kind of paper that can take and hold ink and multiple layers of ink. So not too thin, not your printer paper, that won't work. So spray with any color that you like and then do your thing. So what I did with this card is first I stamped, and that you can see in the background here, the black is one large stamp with a Christmas floral decoration. On top of that, I took a stencil by Tim Holtz with 4 Christmas trees here and here as well. And then I used some Distress Oxide spray. So that is the lighter color that you see on top here. And I not only used the Distress Oxide, but I also sprayed some of the mica stain that I just showed you, which is why you see the metallic gold sheen here, and also here with the other two. See, it's a bit of a gold sheen, very lovely. And then with this larger tree here, one of the 4, so I sprayed all of the 4 with the oxide sprays and the micas, so this one as well. And then I went still through that same stencil, I went through it with this. And this is also a Stickles product, like the glitter glue I showed you, but thicker. It's like a paste. So this is an actual glitter glue with a different viscosity from this one. So this is a lot thicker. It's a glitter gel. And I've almost finished it, like you see. So I have used this a lot. And then you take a tool like this and you just, you take a bit of the gel and then you go through your stencil like this. And then you let it dry. And what that does, this Ranger Stickles, same goes for the Stickles glitter glue if you have the transparent ones, they will soak up, they will re-wet all of the inks underneath, because the Tim Holtz inks and sprays, they react with water. So if you add that gel contains some water as well, so that will re-wet the inks underneath. And the gel that you saw was white or transparent with a transparent base. It takes on the color, like you see, the color underneath. So it takes on the gold of the mica spray and with a bit of the green tone of all of the inks underneath. So that, I think, is a nice effect with this specific gel in combination with the Tim Holtz inks. So you can play around with that, and depending on the color of ink that you use, your glitter gel, your Stickles gel, will take on that color tone. So that is nice. And then I added a ribbon. I just tied it myself and then stuck the whole thing on this card base. So that is a long story, but it's a lot of techniques that I used on this one card. But still, it's very easy to do. The second technique, easier than the previous one. Of course, again, start off with an inked background or a sprayed background. I chose a different color palette, as you see, more pinks and yellows here. Let it dry or use a heat tool to dry it. I did sprinkle some white picket fence ink by Tim Holtz. So this is the white. If you don't have picket fence, you can also use some white acrylic paint, as long as you thin it with water so it will spritz. So you just have some drops. So that is the snow effect that you see here. So I did that myself. Then I stamped this lovely deer with the tree pattern here. So that is a stamp that I used. Also stamped Merry Christmas. Added a Christmas ribbon here, tucked it around the piece of paper that I was working on, stuck it onto this lovely base, which is the one I just showed you, fold it in half, look at that lovely pattern here, and then decorate it with some poinsettias and a little flower here, added some little pearly bits here, and that's it. So I just, with all of my cards, I just did the front this year. But look at how lovely this card looks and how little I actually did to make it. The spraying really goes really quickly, so it doesn't take any time at all. It takes me more time to prep, so to get my inks out, to get my paper out, to lay everything out that I want to use, to think about the colors. That is what takes me time, but the actual creating of this card was very easy. Spraying, drying, stamping, gluing it down, tucking on the flowers. That's it. The next card may even have been even easier. That is this lovely piece. I sprayed a background and used a lot of mica spray. So that is the metallic gold sheen that you see here. I love these micas, guys. I am really fond of them. I also sprayed some oxide spray, I think this is, or maybe I inked it. I don't think I sprayed it. I think I actually inked it with some oxide here. So that is the star pattern here. That is a stencil. It's all over the card. I stamped Merry Christmas. And then I took a stencil that I love. This is a large poinsettia flower. It is a Tim Holtz stencil, but you can of course use any stencil that you like. And then I used a product that was new to me, and that is this one. This is by Cadence, and it is kind of a structure paste, a texture paste. This color is called Doña Perla, and it's a very gritty texture, but it has a sort of a champagne colored metal color, like you see here. So again, you go with your tool, take a bit of the paste and then go through the stencil here on your card. And it is very gritty and it gives a special texture that you see on this card. So it is very easy to make such a card. Spray a bit of ink. If you want, add a little pattern. It isn't even necessary to do it. You can even skip that step. Do a sentiment stamp. You can even skip that step if you want. And then take a stencil and just use a lovely colored paste and add a pattern. So that is a great way to make a quick and easy card that looks very sophisticated in my opinion, and not in the least thanks to this platinum colored metallic grit paste by Cadence. And they come in several colors. So I bought this one because I wanted to try it out, but they have several colors and also several different kinds of paste. So I have to try this brand more. So this is new to me. Next card, the same paste used here, the same Cadence gritty platinum colored paste, but this time through a text stencil, and it says Merry Christmas. This was a bit of a challenge because the paste is very thick and very gritty, and this stencil, well, it was very fine lined, as you can see. So this is a bit, I think this is about as much finesse as that paste can give you, but it worked out for me. So Merry Christmas, it says. I sprayed again with a couple of colors of ink. I used oxide spray, again with the picket fence white for the snow effect. And then I used a piece of the leftover golden background here, and I die cut this deer from it. So it's the same gold background that I used for this card. I added some gold stickles here and there, just, you know, for some extra here as well, the hooves here. And that's it, guys. So one inked background, one simple die cut from another background, a leftover piece actually, and a stenciled sentiment. You could also stamp this if you don't have a stencil or if you don't want to use it. And that's it. I used craft colored paper as a base for this one. And this time I didn't layer it. So the cards that I showed you up until now, I first used mixed media paper, did my creative work, and then glued it on top of a card. This time I worked directly on the craft colored paper, so there is no layering. So I had to be precise because I did want to keep this clean here. I didn't want the ink to spill over, and I think I managed that pretty well. So there you go. So that is why I used oxide sprays, because they will hold their color even on craft color or black or any other color that you want to use. A translucent ink will take on the color of the craft. So you have to use a white background to play with translucent colors, but use your oxide sprays or your spray paints, you know, acrylic paints. Anything not translucent you can use on craft colored paper. So that is an idea as well. It has something pure and simple, you know, not to see any layering, I feel. It's a nice base. What I also did this time is spray the envelope as well. So this is a craft colored envelope that went with this card. So this is one of these sets that I showed you in the beginning. I just bought several sizes and colors. So I bought some craft colored sets as well. And then I sprayed with the oxide sprays on top of this envelope as well. And I used the same coloring, as you can see. So I think this was a very light yellow. It looks a bit whitish, but it is a bit of a, I forgot what it's called, but I think it's, well, I'll put the color below because I forget what it's called right now. And then I chose a pink. So I repeated that pattern on the envelope. So that is an idea as well. Look how lovely that goes together. Next card, a greenish background with some snow effect, and of course I did use the mica as well, so don't be distracted by these baubles for now, guys. I want to show you the background first. So please focus on the background, focus your eyes on the background, and you will see the metallic sheen that has. And I did some stamping as well, so you can see some lettering here, some sentiments here, and I also did a Merry Christmas extra stamp here. Now for this background lettering, I used this stamp. This is from the Snowy Afternoon collection by Studio Light, but there are of course a zillion kinds of background stamps for you to utilize. You don't have to use this one. I don't know if this is still available because this is an older collection, but it's just about the idea, guys. You can use your own, but the idea that I want to show you is you can use text as background, and that is what you see here. And like I said, I did use an extra stamp here that says Merry Christmas. Now you can look at the baubles. I used some holographic paper. Look how lovely that is. One of the easiest ways to reach a nice effect is to have the effect in your paper, in the paper that you buy. I don't have to do anything but either cut or die cut a nice shape or a nice image, and the holographic effect will do the rest. Look how festive that looks. I did use some stickles here and here to simulate a string, and then I added some poinsettias here, and that's it. Also very easy. And then I stuck the entire thing onto a craft colored base. A similar card is this one, similar by way of technique. It does look different, of course, from this one in many respects, but also it's similar. Background sprayed, used a mica spray on top, but a different one. I think this was a silvery one. A bit of a subtle one. And again, don't look at the holographic paper yet, just look at the background first. I used the same text stamp as a background for this one too, this one. And then I simply die cut this Merry Christmas sentiment from holographic paper again. Look at that nice holographic effect, guys. Oh, that is so lovely. So very easy this. Spraying a background, stamping a background, die cutting a sentiment. done. And I think I gave you this tip in my Christmas card videos from last year, but I will repeat it for this year. A tip that I have for you is to cut up your process in different workflows and enjoy all of these single individual processes. So spend a nice Sunday afternoon or one of your hobby evenings, spend it just spraying backgrounds, enjoying your inks, playing around with different substrates, different papers, experiment with your watercolor cardstock versus your mixed media papers, try different shapes like tags or squares or like entire letter shaped or sized pieces and cutting those up afterwards. Just enjoy playing around with all of these colors and inks that you have. You can spray them, you can paint them, you can ink them, you can combine all of these techniques, dry them and look at your work and conclude that it is good, that you have had a nice afternoon or evening. Then, days later, maybe weeks later, or maybe even the next day, it doesn't matter, but some different hobby time, then you do your stamping or using your texture pastes or do your die cutting, playing around with those. Looking for decorations can be a different day again. So cutting up all of these workflow steps may help you enjoy all of the different things and techniques that you utilize, because otherwise you run the risk of making cards becoming some kind of chore. Oh, I do need Christmas cards. I have to hurry up this piece of paper that I'm working on now. This has to become a card, preferably a perfect card. I don't know where to start. I don't know what I want to do. I'm overwhelmed. You know what? I'm going to the store and I'm going to buy me some Christmas cards, and my inks will stay put in place for yet another year. So cut up your process, guys. That is a great tip. Next, again, a differently shaped one, and again with the mica spray. So the entire thing is sprayed with mica spray, so it's the background that is shiny. Then I used some stamps here and here, so and here as well. So I used different patterns and combined them onto one background, stamped Merry Christmas. There it is again. And then, and that is a different thing with this one, I went through my stash because I have lots of leftover pieces from larger projects, and the same goes for Christmas pieces. And I found this, it was on a piece of pattern paper, and I fussy cut it and stuck it onto this card. Well, it was the other way around. I fussy cut this one first, and then I created a background in blue and yellow because I wanted these to go together. Well, same difference. I added some stickles here, and that's it. So very simple. I utilized a leftover fussy cut piece and made a quick background with lovely materials, lovely metallic mica sprays. And look how this simple leftover piece now shines. So that is an idea for you as well. Stuck the entire thing on a cream-colored pearlescent card base. And there you have it, lovely card, done. The next technique resembles that. So it's the same idea, spray a lot of backgrounds and then go through your stash if you have design paper pieces or cut apart pieces or maybe some die cuts or some punch out pieces, and just combine them. So I did check the color. I found some pieces, I did check their color. So this, in this case, a bit of a green, mossy green and berry reds, and and so I chose my inks accordingly. I did a lot of backgrounds, so I have an entire set of these. So here is one, two, and another one, and another one, and even another one. So I did 5 of these. So you can see I'm still in the mossy green and berry red ink spectrum, and utilized, well, an entire bag, I think it was, of all of these smaller pieces that I had kept around and had almost forgotten that I had. And I thought, well, let's stick them all onto a couple of cards. So utilize what you have, guys. That is the tip of this year. Use what you have, frugal crafting, and also enjoying what you have, because we are all, well, maybe not all, but many of us are also craft supply collectors, I think. But, well, like any collector, we tend to forget perhaps what we have owned for many years. So, you know, go exploring your stash and use what you have. Look how lovely this turned out, and the only thing I had to add were these backgrounds, and these I sprayed within minutes. Now, most of the techniques you will recognize. I did use some dimensional tape here. I used a lot of the flowers because I have a giant stash of flowers as well. I used these pieces of paper. I did some stamping. Here in the background you see some stenciling as well. Let me see if I can get you a close-up of that. So this pattern here of the Christmas tree branches and the berries and the holly. I think I sprayed with some mica spray through that stencil. Added some stickles here and there. You know, just use what you have, guys. That is the tip. And last but not least, a more elaborate idea is this one. Well, I have two actually. Let's show both of them. This is the second one. So same idea here. Both of them, again, first create your background. This time I inked with, I think, 1 or 2 fairly light greens, and then used stencils to decorate the background further. So here, for this one, I used 2 different stencils and used them diagonally. So here you see a text stencil with Merry Christmas, here and here. And then on the other quadrants, as it were, I used the same branch berry stencil that I showed you in the other card. Used them here and here in different colors of green. And then here I highlighted the Merry with some stickles, and here the Christmas also with some stickles. And this is actually this holly stickles that I showed you at the beginning of this video. And with this card I used 1 stencil, but this is one of the shifter stencils by Tim Holtz, which facilitates you using 2 colors through 1 stencil. So I used 2 different kinds of ink and then used stickles again here and here, 2 different colors as well, to highlight 2 of the trees. Very simple. And then, well, elephant in the room, I had these gift bags. I think I got them from some shop or something. You know, sometimes they package their the things that you buy, they package them sometimes like this. So I kept these around and I had 2 of them. So I thought I want to use them, and I can't use them on the inside because it will be too much bulk. And I did want to use one of those card and envelope sets that I showed you. So if you really want to use them on the inside, make your own card and then score here so you have a spine that will allow you room for some bulk. So that is of course always an option. I could have done that with this card as well. I could have scored here and then cropped here, and then I would have of course room on the inside. But I wanted to use my creativity and not change this base. So I wanted to utilize these gift bags. So I thought, why not do it on the front of the card? Very festive. So what I did, because what is on the inside here, let me show you that. First, I made tiny Christmas cards. So again, with this ink sprayed backgrounds, with the mica sprays, the metallic sheen, and then a holographic Merry Christmas in blue. So here I will write my Christmas message. And then I collected these perfume samples. Sometimes you get these when you buy a perfume or something else in your makeup stores. So you get these samples. Well, I thought, why not give those away? So I haven't used this, of course. This is brand spanking new. And I thought, let's tuck it into this gift bag. Add my little card here so I can write something about the perfume or something else that I want to share. And of course, I can write my actual Christmas message here. And then I have a lovely gift card. I will need an envelope that allows for this bulk, so the envelope that comes with the cards will actually be too thin, so I can't use these envelopes. Although before I went with this idea, I thought this would stay a thin card. So I did do this with the envelope. What I did here, just to give you an idea, spray with the same colors and then use one tree to ink through the stencil, and you have a card and envelope set. But again, this will not fit, I'm afraid. So I will have to come up with something else. But anyway, and the same goes for this card here. So I made a smaller card to go into the gift bag, and then here I kept some other perfume sample. I think that is a nice gift to send someone for Christmas. I also like that this is red, so the red and the green together will give a very Christmassy atmosphere, I think. So yeah, guys, this was my first batch of Christmas cards. All of them are unique. Not all of them have unique techniques. You have seen most of these techniques in some kind of way, shape or form, but I do hope to have inspired you with some new ideas, especially in the sense of keeping it quick, keeping it simple, and yet elegant, beautiful, lovely to look at, and most importantly, enjoyable for you to create. So I do hope that you will find joy in creating this year's Christmas cards or any other kind of card, because this theme of mine is Christmas, but you can use these techniques for any theme that you like or that you are in need of. All right, and we're back again, so I hope this was inspiring for you all. Now you have seen that you can create many unique cards without a lot of effort. It is pretty easy, but you do need some materials. So I showed you the materials I used, and I hope you can find your own. The brand doesn't really matter, though I do want to add that, well, it does matter in the way that you don't want to use like children's craft materials or some such. You do need some quality to work with, and if you have the choice, pick a brand that has good quality. Me, I'm a Ranger fan. I like their products and I like their color ranges, but I know that there are many good brands out there. And yeah, so take your pick, make use of good sales, and have fun creating your Christmas cards. Okay guys, I will see you next year. Have a Merry Christmas, and of course a very joyful new year. So see you soon. Bye bye.